There he is.
Hey,
Hey, how goes it?
good. Our fence blew over though.
Oh yeah.
That was that. Other than that, it's fine. Just the wind. We get a lot of wind in the canyons here. So
Were you in OI?
no, I'm in East Ventura, but we're
Oh,
like just above Foothill.
yeah.
So I'm not like radically deep in the canyons, but it's like being in a wind tunnel.
Mm.
The Santa Anas are just like amplified when they come through. So
Is it windy right now, or is it just?
no, it was windy. When it was windy last week, I guess a whole bunch of fences went over, and the guy couldn't come over to look at it. He's had so many people call him. So
We've had some pretty weird weather lately, huh?
yeah, yeah, it's been strange. Well, down south, my friends down south have been posting stuff with 6 inches of snow over something over a place in the south you'd never expect to see it. So, but it happens, I guess. I was in Texas once and got caught in a snowstorm, so it does happen.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Uh, I got COVID, and then
Mm-hmm.
it sort of slowed me down a bit. Um, and then everything's just recovering from that. I
Really?
I'm sort of, you know, I do so much, and once you take me out for 2 or 3 weeks, shit just fucking falls apart, man. And so now I have to get back to where the magazine was. I have to. Um,
Right.
it's just the magazine. I have it where I'm ready for the next month, and so I had
Mm.
to combine everything for into a February magazine. So then I had to start all over for March, and then March, April. Now I have to make my backlog and
Just
plan
from
farther.
just
It's
from
just
being out of the box, or it's like falling off the merry-go-round and still keeps spinning around, and you're tumbling around on the ground.
yeah, definitely.
But
Uh,
you'll get back on.
yeah, I'm almost there, dude. So you know, um, it's sort of strange though. Like once you get there, it's a certain headspace that I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm constantly on the grind or on the go, and it's almost as if I'm letting life slip through my fingers, and I'm living through memories. I don't
Mm.
know how to
Mm.
explain it. I just feel somewhat. I feel somewhat crazy.
Right. Well, it reminds me of sometimes I used to have the feeling, well, when my kids were younger, I used to have the feeling that whatever I'm doing, I should be doing something else. Oh, I should be busy with this. Oh, I should be spending time with the kids, and you start bouncing around like a pinball machine. And in retrospect, I think the number one takeaway is I was like way so hard on myself during those days. I was doing so much, and that's a lot. You don't have to um what kind of payoff do you expect in the short run? You just you do what you do. You enjoy doing that. You just told me how much you missed or you felt that it stopped working in just a couple of weeks. So keep those plates spinning. And for God's sake, if you're spinning one plate, don't be worrying about, I should be over spinning the other one.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting, you know, take on things because that's definitely how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. I carry a lot of guilt. I'm very hard on myself all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
I should have done better at this, or I should have been done better at that. I should have said this better. Should spend more time with the kids, better time with my wife. It's always just.
Well, sometimes I think it helps to externalize that voice. And if someone was saying to you, "Oh man, that was a shitty job you just did," you would feel one way. But you say that kind of stuff to yourself all the time, not just you, but everybody. And I started getting in the habit of saying, like, "Man, quit." Like take it easy on yourself. Like as if you were intervening, between two people where someone was beating up on somebody else, because that's what it's like. And all it does is take away from your performance. That kind of worry. That's just like excess heat. You know, coming off. And I guess I'm speaking a little bit of the perspective of having been through a bunch of years, and certainly I can relate to what you're feeling, but you find that you're like, why was I so hard on myself? Is a recurring theme when it comes to things like you're telling me. When I remember feeling that way because I'm going this way, I'm going that way, I'm going every way simultaneously. Eventually you those roots get deeper and deeper. You know what you like to do. Maybe you do all 10 things, or maybe you concentrate on 3 of them, but it all starts to make sense why you got involved in each one. Not you know what you know about magazine publishing, you know what you know about broadcasting. And well, I'll use myself as an example. When I was working on your show, I was just enjoying being on the show. I didn't realize I was picking anything up necessarily, but it gave me the confidence when I went to do my own radio show to say, well, I've seen this done. I think I can pull this off. And it's not that it's anything similar, but I think it was just the way you carried yourself throughout it, and that kind of go forward attitude that, you know, helped me to just kind of go, okay, well, I'll get a radio show and I'll fill the time somehow. So you do a lot of good things. You're giving off a lot of good vibes, and um, that voice that's torturing you it seems to be the disease of a young man a little bit.
You don't
Again, in
think that's the
retrospect,
voice that
because
keeps me going? Keeps me
sure,
striking?
it is. That's the hard thing about it. Yeah.
I don't want see. I understand both of what you're saying,
Hmm.
but I feel if I'm lighter on myself and give myself a break, I won't be able to accomplish some of the things I have accomplished.
Mm. Well, whatever works for you. Um,
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it, so
yeah.
I'm scared to tell myself, "Oh no, you're okay." No, no, fuck that, man.
Well, it
Not
depends.
okay. Go do it.
What I'm saying is, if you react more to ultimatums or dares, then that's going to work for you. And just don't sweat the fact that it comes off in the form of a dare. Don't take it as just take it as method. Don't take it as personal. Again, if it was an external person criticizing you, but if it's someone saying, hey man, I've seen what you've been doing, you should maybe try doing this. And remember last time, well, okay, we learned from that, right? Like a supportive voice. And to me, you could still get everything done you want to get done. But I have heard this before from friends of mine. If they kind of, well, if someone's not cracking the whip. I heard it from a friend of mine who had a really bad marriage, where he was married to a demon, but his rationale was like, well, if she doesn't beat the shit out of me, then I'll never accomplish anything. Well, he didn't accomplish anything with her anyway, except be in pain all the time. So, um, but there's an element of like that's what worked for me, and you have to find the voice that motivates you but doesn't destroy you. Find balance.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think I definitely I need to approach myself maybe a little different because it's a tormenting. That voice is fucking tormenting. It torments me,
Hmm.
and maybe that I control the narrative of that voice. I'm very much aware of that, and maybe I just throttle back a little bit.
Well, I mean, knowing a little bit of your personal history, I mean, is it like a parental voice? Is it, someone that's prodding you along like either you were or you wish you were prodded along? And I'm just trying to figure out if that maybe it's really effective and you just have to find a way to make it not so toxic.
I mean, it is very toxic. Like certain things, like you're a fucking idiot. Why didn't you do this? What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't be lazy. You grind. Like it is a very authoritative, um, strong voice. It's pretty much the same voice I use with you know when we're on the show when our guys fuck up. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if you've been around in that situation. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. I don't hold myself
Right.
in on standards than other people that I work with. I think I hold us all to the same standard. The voice holds us all to the same standard.
Yeah. So you run at a high idle, you know?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And the only thing I can say is if there's a way to keep the motivational part of it and have it be less toxic. And I guess if you visualize someone saying, hey, come on, a drill sergeant giving you shit, and then kind of just slapping in the back saying, oh, come on, man, if you could have some kind of kind component to it where that voice actually is looking out for your best interest, even though it seems, it's like I'm getting tough love right now rather than I'm beating the shit out of myself. I don't know, just throwing out ideas.
Yeah.
But I see that it motivates you and I see it upsets you. And, my prediction is eventually you will get tired of doing that and find another way to do it. And it may happen slowly. But I think what I'm saying I'm further along in that process, which is just mellowing out a little bit and learning to care for your creativity instead of like, kind of kicking it in the ass all the time. And that's it's like a trust or something. It's like, yeah, I know I'll get it done. I'm not. I guess that crept into it somewhere. Instead of, why didn't you do this? It's like, yeah, okay, well, I did this first because it actually made sense to do it first. Then I did that, and I tend to think more that way now. More strategic rather than I should be everywhere simultaneously. It's like, no, I'm doing this first. It makes sense, and I'm sure you do that now. You couldn't get things done if you didn't. So.
Yeah, and it's every single day I have a list I write down in I have a journal. You've seen it before, right? Maybe the people that
I've seen it on the table. Yeah, I never looked closely at it, but I've certainly seen you with it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have with me at any given time, man. So
Well, you're bubbling over with expression,
there's so much going on in that big old head of mine. Dude, but what's
Yeah.
going on with you?
What's going on with me? Well,
What
I've been, it's actually been a pretty surprisingly a really productive year, even though I've been locked in with COVID. But I think for a lot of musicians, I think the worst thing in the world is not, you're going to have to stay home and practice. It's not the worst thing in the world. I lost a lot of gigs. Have been doing like 40 or 50 gigs a year, amazingly. And I lost a bunch of them, but everyone else did. So I don't feel any special case there. So, but what I do feel proud of was that I was motivated to do some things like I worked on a recording project with an old friend of mine, a producer in New York I hadn't worked with in a long time. So we made some kind of techno tracks. I contributed blues guitar and he did most of the techno stuff, but they came out really good. I put together, I put together a show to be about Delta blues, and that resulted in ending up with a band that has stayed together. And now I've written an album and we're releasing our first single tomorrow, and we've got several things we want to release this year, so that's been very productive, and everybody in the band has been fulfilled by it because we're all blues lovers and we just sort of have an ear for it, I guess is all you can say, because we don't have to work out the parts too much. We sort of know, well, the bass falls into this slot, and it's very satisfying when you find people that have the same interest. And it can't be about money this year, you see, you know so it forces people to do something for what they love, while maybe preparing, to go out there and work again. I'm certainly planning for Delta by the Beach, which is the band, to go out and uh, to gig, but we're looking for the type of work where originals bands would be welcome. I mean, our thing is we do Delta blues, it's original music, but we don't mess with it. I mean, we don't try to do anything cute with it. I'd like to think we don't just play the same old thing either. We just try to bring it to life. We try to throw it down authentically and the best we can. And the Delta by the Beach part is, I think it's kind of cool that, a little bold to say that, but we feel that our love for Delta blues and our living here in Ventura, there's like they can merge, or they can be, um, it's a longer story I won't tell, but the idea of being able to transplant the blues anywhere in the world is an interesting topic, because the blues is all over the world. Um, Probably not as much as reggae has a fan base, but blues has a tremendous fan base all over the world, South America and Australia and Japan. So to transplant it to Ventura is a hop, skip, and a jump. And that's the Delta by the Beach project. Now, I mentioned that I'm doing a radio show. Got the idea again, thinking of what I like in blues. I have about 2,000 blues albums, and I thought, I could probably do a show on the radio. And I realized someone sent me an email that said Caps was looking for people, that wanted to do stuff. So I pitched the show, and honestly, I don't think I had to pitch it very hard. And they they've been very happy with it. And there isn't anything like that anywhere out there right now. And what I'm doing is playing classic blues, but kind of like deeper cuts. Maybe the eighth cut on a blues album that no one's ever heard before. And honestly, I'm rediscovering some of it. And then I'm also using my connections that I have from 20 years of traveling in Mississippi to get interviews with some real blues legends. And and to also get some of the newest music right out of Mississippi, which again, nobody else is doing. So let's see what else. Then I'm also doing some live streaming over at Namba. And now that project I think it's relevant to talk about on this show because that's really an 805 project to me. Namba is like a performing arts thing, and honestly, I don't think I fit into all of what they do. They do a lot of dance and theater, but the music part, and to me, jazz is to be revered like reggae, or I mean, not jazz, but blues is to be revered like reggae or jazz. And all right, so you can have some blues and have it be part of a uh, a program or a performance organization that's hosting dance and all kinds of things. But I think I'm going to get the chance to do a local variety show, all 805 people. I'm going to call it the Cavalcade of Troubadours. And it's going to be kind of like an invite only open mic. I'm going to have 6 or 8 people each doing like 2 songs. And then maybe I'll have one band that'll play 15 or 20-minute set. And it'll be every other week. And it'll be all 805 people. And just to have an outlet for people to stream and they've got a nice professional kind of studio and lit environment. So you get to keep a video out of the deal too. Everyone that comes on gets to take away the video. So that's a project that isn't quite on the ramp yet. I did 5 of these shows in the fall. But now I just got the go ahead and do them starting in March. So I've got a lot on my plate. And honestly, if it had been a regular year doing 40 or 50 gigs, I would have spent a lot of time just loading my car.
Well, dude, you're definitely of, servant's heart, in which you do give back to our community and to the music community is very fucking awesome, man. And
Well,
that's one of the things that I saw in you, when we were working together, and it's hard to come by.
Well, I'll say I was inspired by you because the locality of the whole thing really, it made me realize that the scene in 805 is much bigger than most people realize and much more diverse. And even the little bit I'm doing couldn't just tap the surface, and certainly you've shown me acts that I didn't know were around, and you've continued to do that over the years. So again, I'm not trying to just kiss butt here, but it's true. I saw what you were doing and I was like, wow, I'd like to, promote some of these bands too, not to make money, but just because I like doing it. I like to see people do different things, succeed at what they do. I've become a more positive person over the years. I wasn't always so positive, but I was like everyone else. If I saw someone else doing something, I might feel jealous, or if I saw a guy play really good, rip some leads, a part of me would feel jealous. But boy, I don't feel that way anymore at all. I'm glad to see anybody succeed and do good because I feel like some of it'll rub off on me. It's not a zero-sum game to me. It's the lake rises and all boats rise. I'm that kind of person.
That's how
So
I
when
look at
anybody
it
does
too.
good,
But for
yeah.
the
So
longest time, I was this angry kid, man. Oh, fuck these
yeah,
guys, fuck them. Like anyone who wants to start up a podcast, like fuck them. That's what I was acting like.
yeah.
We had this sort of gang mentality, when we started it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely understand the jealousy or the anger.
Sure, it's
But
normal. But
but
look at it
over
at the
time,
way as it builds the audience for everybody. And I'm just talking about doing gigs. If you Let's say you're, to me, the superpower that some musicians have is they can actually create new venues. I saw this happen with RJ Mishu. Those guys just showed up in a pickup truck and started playing in the parking lot of a place down on Main Street, and they got a gig there just because they showed up in a pickup truck and started playing live. And again, that's like a musician's superpower. They opened the gates for a new venue. And uh, when we do finally get back on our feet, and I know you do a lot of live venue stuff, I know people are going to want to go out, but it's going to be kind of the Wild West, I'm afraid. There's going to be so many bands aching to play. They'll play for almost nothing. There'll be venues that you used to be able to count on, you won't be able to count on, and eventually there'll be new places. But yeah, actually, what are your thoughts about that? You're a live music maven too.
I have two places that are still keeping in contact with me that are going to utilize my services. Um,
Good.
I definitely like, just to be honest, I think we all have to do our part in this. I think in the beginning part, we either, this is what I suggest, but I haven't really sat down with anybody. I think that we should do it for either free or low money.
Hmm.
Because I mean, unless it's like a corporate place, you know what I mean? But
Right.
if it's these mom and pop shops in our hometown, we have to
Yeah.
remember all the times that they've given great money for years. I've been doing it for 11, 12 years, right? It's always
Hmm.
been great money for 12 years. I think it's time we give back to them. And
I
so,
totally agree. In fact, I can tell you, I emailed one of my venues today and said, "Hey, you know what? I know you just opened up. I'll gladly play for free. We're all in this together." And they're not quite ready to open up with music yet. But I mean, I would have played there whether or not I sent that note. But I do care about these venues because yes, it's been very good to have a bunch of gigs, and maybe it's just me, but I like to feel when I'm playing even at a restaurant or something, and I'm sort of part of the staff while I'm there. In that the people that come in, they want to take it all in. They want to have good food, good atmosphere, and good music, and I understand the level, what I'm providing to that whole ambiance. Um, Certainly you inevitably feel like kind of this part of the staff because you're watching the people and trying to make sure everyone's, if they're not flat out having a good time, at least they're not having a bad time.
and even
Sometimes you
check
can at
this
least
shit
look
out.
for that.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll see in the phone. All right. If you go to knowcover.com and
Mhm.
go under artists, if you have an opportunity, yeah, go knowcover.com and go under artists.
Okay.
Just go over it right
Can't
now.
do it right now, but I would.
All right. All right. Let me get this back.
Well, actually, let me get there on my phone. I can do it here.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm seeing the same thing you are.
Okay.
This is what I've been developing. I know that I needed to level up. And so whatever that means, I can't do the same song and dance. I have to add something to my repertoire, or I have to give something to our community that normally they don't. I got to create something. I got to.
Hmm.
This is a voice inside my head that's talking, dude.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh, I got to. I got
Well,
to. All right.
yeah,
So
that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you have created a lot, so just you
so
know,
go to
um,
go to Baby Yodel.
okay.
That'll be the first one.
Cover.com, cover media, music news. NoCover.com, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've got a whole bunch of release news here. Chuck
It
D
says
music.
artists at the top.
Okay. Artists. Yeah. Okay. I see it. Yes, I see it.
Okay.
Baby Yodel.
Oh, actually, go to Bando. I'm sorry. An artist, and then it'll say Bando.
Yes.
Click
Bandalorian.
on booking calendar.
fetching it here. A little slow.
Yeah, I got my slow too. All right.
So
Do you see
it
it?
looks like some of the dates are darkened out. Does that mean these guys are working or what?
No. So we created this for our town.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
And
that's
so
great.
they will have, you know, their each one of these dates will have a price on it. And so
Hmm.
you go and listen to their activity or profile,
Mhm.
and you listen to her music. If you like it, you can book them right here. So what this
Very cool.
does is it will bring everybody together in one centralized location,
Uh-huh.
be able to look for what they want. It gives bands an opportunity who might not be all up in the scene or the circle to be able to get booked.
Hmm.
And it allows all the band or it allows all the venues in our town to not pay a guy like me or a guy like Randy to do the booking. It'll be for free.
Hmm.
I know
Well,
that's
that's
shitty for my on my part. I'll lose money. I don't care. As long as I leave our music scene better than I found it. And that's why I'm looking.
mm, that's great. That's a great way to be driven, you know. Um, I'm doing it for the local scene, but a part of me is also doing it just because I enjoy all the music so much. It's fun to put together a
It's
review of
fun.
people. You know, I don't have to, it's like I don't have to reach very far, you know. I can find so many good people that um, it's just amazing. I mean, I wonder if it's like this. I know there are music hotspots all over the country, but I do think the 805 really has a
It's
nice
very
scene
special.
going. Yeah.
I mean, even you talk to Chris Austin out there,
Yeah.
although he loves it, it's not the same. In
Not
a
the
lot of
same, really.
places. Los Angeles, not the same. Huntington, not the same. San Diego, not the same. Um,
Mm.
we're special here. Also, with this is there's a guy named PJ Bloom. You probably might have heard me talk like a story
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
him. He's a song placement guy. And
Mhm.
so every song that gets uploaded into the No Cover website will also it'll give him a database. So he will go through his phone whenever he has time, and it's like Tinder. He'll put his headphone in and he'll listen to a song. It's like, oh, 45 seconds of every song. Could I use that for a placement? He
Right.
swipes right if he can. If he can't use it, he swipes left. So
Mhm.
this is how we will intend to get the money. If PJ Bloom, um, if PJ Bloom uses a song for song placement in a movie, a commercial, uses it for a radio spot, a YouTube video, the artist will get paid, handsomely, and
Mhm.
he'll use it. And so it's like Tinder: swipe right if you like it, swipe left if you don't, and it gives the artist
It's
another.
it's brutal and it's brilliant at the same time. But no, it's actually very efficient because, I know what you're saying. If because I've been booking shows. If I'm looking for a classical duo, I'm gonna go, oh, this is a great punk band, but that's not what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah,
You can live with that. It's just a reality of booking sometimes. Um, and since we're venturing out with a Delta blues band, we want to be a Delta blues band more than we want to try to please everybody. Like we're not going to look to do cover gigs or anything. We want to represent exactly what we are. If you're not in the mood for it, that's fine. But if you are, we're there for you. And um, that's the right way to handle it because it's the exact opposite of what I do when I'm just playing gigs. Yes, I'm using my own taste, but an awful lot more I'll be just like, I'm going to do this because I know people like this song. We don't have any songs like that. They're all songs we like. uh, but if you like that genre, you're going to like Delta by the Beach. So
tell me about the song coming out tomorrow.
Well, it's called You Did a Bad Deed, and it's kind of in the style, I'd say, of maybe circa 1965 blues. It's it's one of those, but it rocks really nice. This whole band swings really nice. We've got, I'm playing with Milo Sledge now, and
Oh, Milo.
Milo's deep into the blues. Yeah, Milo's the guitar player. I'm actually playing bass,
Oh, shit.
and we've got a drummer named Eddie Lehman who he was from town a long time ago. He's been out of town, but he's back. But boy, are we lucky because this guy has played with everybody. He traveled in Asia a lot, and I mean he's played with every jazz guy, and he can dig in on a blues shuffle like literally like no other drummer I've ever played with. It's just pure magic when the three of us, start grooving together. So I hope everyone enjoys it because what's really motivating us is it just feels so good when we play. And even writing these songs was easy because it was just as easy as talking practically, sitting down and jamming with these guys.
Do you miss playing
So the
guitar?
song tomorrow is Bad Deed, and we're going to perform. The way we're doing our live stream tomorrow on Facebook at 8 o'clock. And what's going to happen there? It's probably be broadcast much later than that. But what happened there was we did an interview. We're working with Filiberto Landeros, and you know him,
Okay.
right? He's great. So he was our mastering engineer and mixing engineer, and he's going to talk with us and sort of interview us, talk a little bit about the process. But mostly we're going to go and play about a half-hour set of some of the songs we've got coming up, a couple of covers. We've got as a special guest, we got Ska Bone Stan on trombones, going to sit in on one song. So a little Delta blues with a trombone thrown in for good measure, I guess.
Do you miss
So
playing
I'm
guitar?
looking forward to that because Ska Bone's great.
Do you miss playing the guitar?
Well, on to the extent that I'm still going to do live gigs, I'll play guitar on that, and I'm very satisfied. But I love playing bass, and it's almost like I've discovered that I've been a bass player all along because I can think like a bass player, and I didn't even know there was such thing as thinking like a bass player until you play with a drummer and you realize, okay, you and me got to carry this thing. The guitar player, he can screw around and fall over, but you and me got to carry this thing. So it's a whole different, you know perspective. But because I understand that what a guitar player would do, I know what a bass player should not do. And I'm talking about like certain syncopations and stuff where you do as a guitar player, you'd be cute, playing between the beat or something, but it's just going to sound terrible if a bass player is doing that. So that's, I think, the thinking like a bass player part of it is you know your place right away.
Well, man, what else do you have anything else coming up that you would like to share
Well,
besides
let's
that?
see.
When does
So
when do
Namba show is on February 28th.
Mhm.
We've got our live stream tomorrow, but I'll let the cat out of the bag here. We're actually going to release a single every month. So we're doing a project called Single of the Month, and then at the end of the year we'll release them all as an album. So you can look forward to every 30 days we're going to be dropping a single. Tomorrow is just the first one. And we hope to do some kind of a little event for each one, and eventually when things open up, we hope we can get get to a venue and have a real party, where people can come in and enjoy a release. So but the song will be available on all the usual platforms and such. And I think on Spotify, and you can just listen to it. If you like it, you can buy it. Um, Venmo at Delta by the Beach. I'll just say that. Our music is free. Venmo at Delta by the Beach.
All right, my man. Hey, I love you. Let's talk about getting on the show once.
Oh, we'd love to. It would be
And
great.
and I'll see you when I see you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
one. Bye.